enough about United. Let's just finish off here with some of the more high performing players this season. So I just wanted to I quickly got up the best 11 from the season so far. I think there's lots to disagree with here, in my opinion. You let me know. So just if you can visualize it. So we got Mendy in goals, Trent at right back. This is according to who scored. Sean Duffy. You loved a bit of Sean Duffy. Sean Duffy and Chaloba, sorry, at centre half. Jan Cancelo, Salah at right wing. I think that's undisputable. Bruno, Pogba, Traore, Antonio, and Alan Saint-Maxime up front.
So we go again. Bruno, Pogba, Antonio, and then who?
It's a 4-4-2. So Antonio on the left. Traore on the left, Saint-Maxime and Antonio up front. So yeah, that's the 11. I don't need you to go by those players, but I think who would be two or three players, or even if it's just one, that kind of you've gone for. These players really stepped it up this season.
Chalobah is one that's caught my eye.
You were going to say it wrong as well.
I didn't even know if I said it right, and I apologize if I got it wrong. But I said it, and I thought, is that right? But he scored a couple of goals, which I think has got him a bit higher than perhaps he would be otherwise. He's got two good goals as well, but he has played well, and he's another youth player who's come in. I'm so glad to see Chelsea getting youth players into the team. I'm happy to see him there, but I'm a little surprised at the same time. Jamie Vardy's got 6 goals. I didn't actually know. I looked it up today. So he's got 6 goals. How did he get 6 goals? You know,
that's surprising.
So Salah and Vardy are the 2 top scorers in the league with 6, and then Antonio's got 5, and then the others are 4 and below. So, they're the top 3. So Vardy's actually played. I thought he was going to go down a bit this year, and I sort of suspected Leicester might struggle because of that. But Leicester is struggling despite the fact that Vardy's getting goals. And the what's his name? The Japanese centre back at Arsenal. Starts with a T.
Right back, I can't remember his name right now, but
Tomiyasu, I think it is.
Tomiyasu, that's it.
Tomiyasu. So my Japanese teacher from high school will be very upset the way I pronounced it, but he's done very well. He's a centre back, right back. He's sort of a bit like a Jamie Carragher in terms of like he's probably not big enough to be a centre back, but he's a good right back, and then he'll probably end up playing centre back over the journey. I think with Ben White coming in, it's probably affected his chances of playing that back four, but I think he's doing very well. I think he's been quite underrated. And who's the other one that I had? I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's also played pretty well. I think he's enjoying the wide players in Everton's system. He's actually getting crosses. He's got a very big jump, Calvert-Lewin. He's got a good leap, and he can hang in the air a bit. Not almost Tim Cahill-like. And Benitez has added a bit of width to that team. Last season, it was all about guys like Richarlison and Sigurdsson and Rodriguez, who are more playmakers than genuine wingers. So I think Calvert-Lewin, has done well. He's been injured for a bit, but when he was playing, he played quite well.
Yeah, I think 2 players I have actually, if not 3. I think Mo Salah, I got to sing his praises, man. For me, Mo Salah has become the best winger that the league has ever seen.
He's the best player in the league right now. Full stop.
Yeah, he's the best player in the league now, and I think he's become the best winger. You know, you got to give a bit of respect to Thierry Henry. I think just the level that the man is a magician on another level. I think, but Salah arguably is perhaps the greatest winger that the league will ever see. And I don't mean that's the greatest. My friend actually told me this really interesting kind of duality. That's the greatest of all time, and there's the best of all time. The greatest of all time will be your Pelés and your Muhammad Ali's. You're talking about transcending the sport, bringing greatness to the sport, and then you have the best of all time, which is like your Tysons or your Thierry Henry's or your Zidane's, who they bring the game to disrepute, handball, headbutt, biting the air off, but the talent can't be disputed. And I think Salah is honestly the mesh of the two. There's no scandals, there's no stupidity, there's very little diving. He's come back to the Premier League to show that he's the man. And for me, I can't look past how amazing this man is. And he will never be looked upon that great, I think. And it's not a racist thing. I just think there is an inherent bias with Arabic, African, perhaps some Asian players as well. Why Park Ji-sung's never looked upon as good as he was. I think being brown as well doesn't really help. But it's not a hugely negative thing. But I have to say, for me, this guy is just on another level. And the second player would be Trent. I think Trent, especially towards the end of last season, Liverpool were not playing as well as they could. Well, in that kind of chunk of was it January to March? Got a lot of criticism. He's come back really well. He looks better than ever, and I still hope that he gets into that centre mid position. I think Liverpool could reach another level. or could build the next team around him if Klopp stays on, which unlikely, but I think he could be the center of the next team. And who was my third one? And I got a shout out to Pogba as well. I think Pogba 7 assists to start the season off. He's gone a bit cold, but he just shows what he can do, man. Like when he wants to turn it on, he goes and win a World Cup. When he wants to turn it on, he puts 7 assists in 5 games, whatever it is. I think 7 games. Sorry, I think he's just a shame. So for me, those three, and I think Salah is just a level up from everyone else perhaps in the world right now.
Genuinely, right now, I think that I don't know if he's the best in the world, but that's more me not necessarily knowing what he's up against outside the Premier League. But it'd be hard to find someone in better form than him, genuinely. And I think it's a bit like you said, it's a bit about the man as well. He's clearly a very humble man. He's quite devout in his faith, which I respect. And the thing is, when people are like that, you tend to look for misbehaviors, and then you tend to go, oh, they're hypocritical because they claim this, and then they're acting like that. But there's never any of that with Mo Salah. And just his left foot just seems to be getting better and better. It's I don't know how that happens, but Liverpool's problem with him is obviously that contract extension. So he's got, at the end of this season, he'll have 1 year left. He wants mega bucks, and I think Liverpool, it's more about fitting that into their structure as opposed to whether they want to pay him or not. But he is the centerpiece of that team, which is a very good team. And he's not quite like, when I grew up watching Thierry Henry, I was genuinely afraid of Thierry Henry. It was probably the only player I feared from another team. Salah's not quite there, but he might get there soon. He's playing at that high level.
2 players, I've said it before, Thierry Henry and Torres, peak Torres. You don't fear Salah, and I think it's because he has that many great players around him. Only 2 years ago, everyone was, oh, is it Mane? Is it Salah? I mean, it's Salah now. And maybe that's why. Maybe because he hasn't stood out. He's always been this good. He hasn't stood out till this season. Perhaps that's it. But I
think as well, though, like Henry had an air about him. Henry was like, I'm good and I know it. Even peak Torres was. Ronaldo has that. Now, Salah doesn't have that air about him. Salah looks like that guy who scores a great goal and 2-side in the park, and he's like, yeah, great goal, yay.
But as you're saying, he's a very religious. I think he's a very religious man. So just on a practical point of view, this man doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. I'm assuming there's not a lot of red meat in his diet. I'm assuming he's very, because of that and being a footballer, he has access to food, and sure, people have lots of money when you're a footballer, but I'm saying this guy, in addition to the lifestyle of his religion, I can see this guy, maybe not Liverpool, maybe he goes, finishes off in Italy again. You see this guy going till he's like Ronaldo, 35, 36, 37, playing at a very, very high Champions League level.
It's one thing to have a lot of that money, though. Like I always remember the story of Cassano going to Real Madrid. You know that story?
Cakes and hookers, right?
Scones and hookers. Sex and pastries, yeah.
Sex and pastries, that's right.
So they had him in the team hotel, and every night he'd have a woman over, and then afterwards the staff would bring him like a tray of pastries. Like it was like literally every night. I think he had like massive amounts of Nutella as well. So you get access to all this facility, but what are you doing with it? And Ronaldo and Salah are good examples of people using it to become better. Yeah.
I think we'll end off there, man. I think the praises of Salah can't be sung enough, and I think there are lots of outstanding players this season.
Would you say? I'll ask you one question. Quick question. Salah versus Gerrard. Who do you think, if Salah keeps going, and then by the time, say Salah retires, he plays for a few more years and retires, do you think that you could say, because Gerrard for me is probably Liverpool's greatest player in the Premier League era, do you think Salah could surpass that?
No, there's no way. And I'll tell you why, because it's actually very interesting, because I go on about how he could be the best winger, best attacker the league's ever seen. But Gerrard, we have to look at the two years. I think there was peak Gerrard, which was 5 and 6. It was the Champions League, and then they won the FA Cup. And then there was a bit of that nice bit of Gerrard. The year he slipped, he was actually very good. He played in that quarterback role. Gerrard, Rogers put him in that
pivot,
kind
number 6 pivot.
Pivot number 6. He did what he wanted, basically. So we talk about 5 and 6. I think that those are the best years of Gerrard. I mean, you look at the team, man. My brother and me always we joke about Istanbul, and we say he had Igor Biscan next to him, so he had to go play right back to get away from Igor Biscan, so he could win. Could win.
I mean, you look at that team. You look at like Traore, Biscan, Schmitzer. Like these guys are not like. how good would they be in the modern day Premier League? Would they get anywhere near this Liverpool team? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a good
No, I
point.
mean, I think perhaps from that, if I just had to quickly think of it, perhaps in that team, primetime Kuhl would get in Xabi Alonso, and Gerrard, and then you have Luis Garcia coming off the bench because he's so lucky. He's like a Jesse Lingard kind of character. No one really knows what he's going to do next. But no, man, Gerrard. I mean, Gerrard's my favorite player who ever lived. I think he's his leadership, his personality, his pure athleticism. I don't think he was a very skillful player, but I don't look for that in a player. I'm not the Ronaldo. I don't love Ronaldo for his skills. I like a professional player, and for me, there's
His
no
heart
way
and
anyone
strength and his
surpasses Gerrard.
physicality was
Yeah,
that
which is why I like
combination
Frank
was
Lampard as well. You know, he squeezed everything he could out of those rolls around his tummy because he was so fat, and you know. But yeah, look, nah, can't be surpassed. Cannot be surpassed. But I will say, as a United fan, Salah has surpassed every single, bar Ronaldo, every single United attacking player in the Premier League. And I'm talking about the class of '92. I'm talking about the class of '08. Surpassed in talent. And I just think a lot of United players get papered over with the amount of titles they've won. Giggs being one of those.
one thing I'll ask you
He's
because I absolutely love Paul Scholes, but
yeah.
would you count Scholes as one of those attacking players?
I think he was better than I think Scholes is better than Gerrard. He's just not my favorite player. I think
Okay, so you're talking more
um,
about your
I
favorite player rather
I
than
think as a young person, as when I was younger, maybe you appreciate. I look now and I appreciate the tempo, the poise, the elegance that Scholes brings to a game, and I can understand it much better than I
the
did
younger
when I was like
Scholes
12,
was
13.
more of a 10. The older
Yeah,
Scholes was more of
yeah,
a almost a Pirlo Xavi type player who could also
that
hit long passes.
that like kind of that last peak team of Fergie, that second last team, that's on the 7 to 8 is when he became more poised and elegant. But if I had to pick a player, no, I think Scholes was a better player. I think Gerrard was a greater player. Just what he embodied, it's very hard, very different for a
What do
United
you,
fan to
yeah.
say.
I mean, and Gerrard sort
I
of
pick Gerrard
became
every time.
Liverpool, whereas Scholes wasn't really. You wouldn't say he was Man United. He was a great United
Yeah.
player, but when you think of that team and personalities, you think more of Roy Keane, you think more Gary Neville, you think
But
more of those guys. Whereas
that's because he never
Gerrard and
wanted.
Carragher was really that team.
That's because he never wanted to be United. You know, Ferguson talks about how he loves Scholes because Scholes had a lawyer, and that was it. He didn't have an agent. He didn't have a manager. When he wanted to renew his contract, he'd come in with his lawyer. Most players don't even come in with the agent, and the lawyer would say like X, Y, Z. There was never a conversation. It was just to make sure the terms were there on the paper. Everything's sweet. There's no little hidden clauses. Sign the paper. There was never any discussion
I
with
think the
Scholes.
only sponsorship he ever had was his football boots.
Yeah, he never had. In fact, there was something with that where he like for a few years he was just buying boots in his early years because he didn't want a sponsorship. So yeah, as far as like being an enigmatic personality, he never wanted to be that. So that's one thing. But I do stand by the fact that I think a lot of United players from those great eras get papered over the amount of league titles that they won. And I will say this: if I was going to the way I differentiate Scholes and Gerrard, I guess, if I was going into a tournament, 6 games, 8 games, I'd pick Gerrard every time. If I was going to a league of 38 games in a season, maybe I pick Scholes. Maybe I pick Scholes. And does Gerrard produce 38 games? No, but I know Scholes will give me a 6.8 every game. So there's that for you as well.
So the whole
Yeah.
knockout, if it was a knockout tournament, you go Gerrard.
Oh,
If
there's
it
no
was a
question,
league,
man.
you
I'd pick
go
11
Scholes.
Gerrards. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, lovely chat as always. So problems at United and Salah's the greatest. I think it's quite a diametric opposite to talk about today. Any closing thoughts, Sham? International weekend. Spain beat Italy last night, which was Italy's first loss in
37 games, yeah.
37 games. Yeah.
Ferran Torres with 2 goals, yeah. He could.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't played more at number 9 for City. I think that he's got the ability to, maybe not
Sorry.
80-90% of the games, but I'm surprised he just hasn't played more regularly. It could be because he's quite young, but if he can do it against Italy, I think City might need to give him a few more chances at that 9 spot.
Yeah. And I'd like to see Spain get a bit of mojo back. There's a lot of bad press going around Spanish football today with Barca and perhaps Real not performing well in the last few weeks.
The players are. It's a bit of an in between time for them. Their best player, like Busquets, was their captain, and he's 50,000 years old, and the Jordi Alba and those sort of guys. Whereas the next generation, you look at the Barcelona team now. There's a lot of guys between 17 and 20 that are coming along. Spain could be very scary in the 2026
very
World
good.
Cup. Very scary.
Gavi, Pedri, Ansu Fati, all those guys. Yeah, and I think the last time a country had these kind of problems, I guess you could say was even worse, was Italy, and they went on to win the World Cup. So I think We'll see. We'll see but and that was an aging squad, and they just kind of dropped down. But I think Spain perhaps has the foresight to kind of plan and go like, look, we're going to go through turbulent time for another 3 to 4 years, but good things will come out of it. I think it will.
I was reading an article in Spain. So they lost the semifinals on penalties to the team who won it. They made the semifinals of the under-21s. I think they got silver medal at the Olympics. Like there's a lot of talent there, but there's financial issues clearly that are affecting. And Spain's it's so disparate between the top and bottom sides in terms of wealth. So you just see Real Madrid and Barcelona getting hit that badly. That Atletico is probably the most financially viable club at the moment.
Yeah, club, yeah.
Which given their histories is quite shocking.
And it is nice to see. I mean, we grew up basically with those two teams, and you had a litter of Valencia, Bilbao for a while, Deportivo. Even Malaga was up there. Real Betis for a while. The days of what's his name? Denilson. In the days of Denilson.
And Joaquin. Yeah, Joaquin.
But it's good to see. It's nice to see a solid third option in Spain. Simeone being the god. I think he's kind of the godfather of the league right now. In kind of that Ferguson aura. Even though Ancelotti's there, but yeah, no. Spain will come good again. It'll be fine. Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll end it there, Sham. Any closing thoughts? All good?
All good.
Lovely. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We are the 5 Year Pass podcast. My name is Sudi, and this is Sham. Keep football simple, and as always,
keep passing, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.